Hi everybody, welcome back. Last week we did some casting with silicone to create these baby Yoda hands, and this week what I'll be doing is I'll be using foam card to create a mould housing for the baby Yoda head. So for me, I've seen people use Lego, I've seen people use styrene. For me, foam card, it's so cheap and easy to use, and cutting it is really simple. And it just slices, and it's really good for building with and super light, and there is a moderate amount of give in it, so you can give some mild curves to it. You can slice into it halfway and give you make greater curves with it. But for the purpose of this build, it's just rectangles all the way. So I can end up creating a rectangular mould. So for the foam card base, what I've done was I just gently scored on one side, be able to make it fold, and that just makes it a really quick way to get 90 degree. So you get the first part, and then to assemble it, it's quick and dirty, just hot glue. And all the hot glue is just to give some structural aspect to it, just to hold it all in place while the silicone sets when you're moulding. It doesn't need to last forever. What you will need to do is make sure that the hot glue, when it's in place, gives a moderately watertight seal, because obviously you don't want the silicone pouring out and then you lose the integrity of the mould. But the great thing with hot glue, a few seconds, boom, done. So same on the other side. Thing with hot glue guns, obviously what it is melted plastic. So when using a hot glue gun, take care with fingers around it, because the stuff's like napalm. Once it gets on you, it sticks to you, and then it will continue to burn. So when using hot glue, make sure you keep your fingers well out the way of the areas you're gluing. But the great thing is, especially here in the UK where it's a bit colder, a few seconds and it's set. And the good thing about hot glue is the sticks are relatively cheap. I got a set, I think it was 150 on Amazon for, I think it was less than £10. So it's just a really great way to do fast and dirty gluing. Would I use this on a prop that I'm going to troop in? Ideally no, but having a hot glue gun in your trooping toolkit is a very handy little thing to do on the fly repairs, especially if you're out on your first troop in a new costume or something. Guarantee you something will fail on it that you didn't expect, or you didn't foresee. So a lot of troopers carry a hot glue gun in their toolkit because it's a great way of doing a temporary repair, and hot glue generally is quite easy to remove. So once it's on, say, a piece of styrene or a piece of ABS, once it's set, and you get home after the troop and you want to repair your costume properly, you can practically peel it off. I mean, I've used hot glue in my garage in the past, and then months later, after whatever I hot glue gunned up, it just falls off the wall. So I mean, it's not something I would certainly use as a permanent repair, but for a temporary repair, yeah, definitely. If you're on the troop, or if you're doing something like this where all you need to do is just cast once, and then once the silicone's set off this cast, I'll be ripping this off and it'll all go in the bin. So you don't need to worry about the life of this glue. I have heard of people using hot glue to make fake welding when they're coming to, if you've got like an EVA prop or something like that. I've seen people use this and just use it like a welder to give the effect once it's been spray painted, of something being welded, because you actually end up with the same, the squidgy wiggle marks. So with this cast, certain castings, when you've got a flat bottom and you don't want anything, you want a nice smooth surface from that to as you're opening, it's a good way to get it all sealed up beautiful. But for the case of this, because I'm going to be slush casting it, I'll be, once the silicone's set and the stuff that I'll be using, I'll be rotating it around the mould anyway. So the opening here, I'm not that worried about being clean. So what I will do is, when I come to do it, I'm just going to do hot glue circle in the middle, because that'll be where the silicone won't be able to get to. And I'll just be forcing that down onto the card in the middle. Now, when making a mould like this, it's important to have clearance on the ears or on the tips of your mould, because the thinner the wall, the weaker the silicone. So you don't want a wall too thin. Otherwise, when you come to cast, the rubber could move and you'll end up with either dimples or casting poking out. So the idea is to get a decent thickness, so you have a decent space all the way around the edge of your mould. So on this one, you've got the head in there, and you notice it's quite close to the front wall there, but I need the silicone here to be quite thin, because when I come to remove it, I want to actually rotate the face out first, and I've got a nice thick back wall. So once this is all set, what I'll need to do is I'll need to measure this up to get the dimensions, and then from this I'll be able to figure out how much silicone I'm going to need to cast this as a solid piece.